Looking good, hey? Well, I think so anyway. Now that the exhaust is on, let's put some oil back to the engine that I've drained probably 5 months ago. And while I'm on it, I'm going to change the oil in the rear shaft drive as well. Let's do this. I want to replace fill up the engine with an oil. Some time ago I stripped the covers apart to give them a good polish, paint the engine. Obviously I drained the oil as it was needed. Before I do that, I want to replace the oil strainer or oil screen, which is located in this little part. There are 3 little screws, 1, 2, 3, holding it in place, and the oil screen is located over here. However, the old oil screen that was over here, it's completely fucked. It's shattered to pieces. It's been clogged with some kind of silicone, some kind of paste, you know. This part over here you can see it's broken, it's missing. It was completely clogged with whatever that was in the engine. I'm not happy reusing that part, so I need to replace it with new or second-hand part. The problem I have over here, that Virago, that model Virago, is American import, and replacing a part from that model is proving to be challenging, but I do have a solution. So this is the fender, the oil screen. As you can see, it's shattered over here and it's full of crap, and I'm pretty sure it's going to fall apart furthermore. Finding this online, you can get it from America. The part itself, second-hand reused part, is about $8. Shipping over here is about $40. So I went ahead and bought a European Virago. It's a bit dirty, excuse me. A European Virago equivalent, which is the Virago 535 as opposed to 500. Engine is a bit different. You got twin shocks on the back as opposed to the middle one, monoshock conversion. And that is the screen filter, oil filter, oil screen for the European Viragos. From the picture it looks pretty much exactly the same, apart from a couple of differences. It's got a longer wing over here. There's a tab on this one which is much shorter. There's nothing on the end of this one, where this one's got some kind of wings over here as well. Looking at it, it's physically the same length, same diameter, front and back. This looks, the end fitting is identical, same on this side, so I'm pretty confident it's gonna fit. Let's have a look. Right, so it goes this way. There's a locating tab over there, so you know you got it right when it clicks in place. And it does, so it doesn't spin around. And I tell you what guys, it not only fits, but it's an improvement because it sits in place. I believe that's what these tabs are here for, you know. It's exactly the same on the other engine. It must be the European sister of this bike. That locates it over here, sits right in place, doesn't move from side to side. As opposed to this one, there was nothing stopping it from moving, so you could twist one side on the other side. Where in the cover part, the hole needs to match it exactly, and that just makes it so much easier to fit in. I remember putting that back in, it was just like leaning towards the bottom onto the right, and I was having problem locating that. But this sits perfectly where it should be, so fitting this in, it's gonna be a piece of cake, just like that. So this little bad boy is going to the bin, and if you ever wondered whether your American import Virago will take its European sister oil screen, or oil strainer I believe they call it, well, in my opinion the answer is yes, but don't take my word for it. Join me in a couple of weeks when I'm gonna run this engine and see whether the oil actually goes through it nicely. But physically looking at it, it's the same. If anything, the European version oil screen is better. Next part of today's exercise is replacing oil in a shaft drive. Ain't difficult. 19mm, that's the filler bolt. That's a drain bolt right down here. First I want to remove the filler one. Oh. Simple as that. There is a washer over here, don't lose that. And then I'm gonna loosen up the drain board underneath. Gently, just like that. Put a bucket underneath that thing, because the oil is just gonna go down. And carefully remove that bolt. Oil is gonna go down. There's obviously a washer as well, don't lose that shit. Wear gloves if you can. There we go. Nasty looking thing, definitely needed changing. There's not much in there really, just a little bit. I'll let it drain for 5 or 10 minutes until it's completely empty. We're back 5 minutes later. I'm using the SAE 80W90 oil, heavy duty kind of Pentacene G5, whatever they call it. I'm using this one because some of you may remember I used exactly the same oil for exactly the same purpose on my VMAX, and that worked brilliantly, perfectly, absolutely well. So I'm going to use this one on the Virago as well. But first thing I want to do is obviously put that drain bolt back in and torque it up to manufacturer's specifications, whatever that may be. I'm going to check it in a manual just in a second. Right, once the drain bolt is in place, I'm going to fill it up. I don't have a small funnel. My small funnel just disappeared somewhere. I need to buy a new one. So I've got a big boy. I need to be very careful because it fits just in, the whole thing doesn't go in a hole, but I'll be very careful with it. What manual says, fill it up until it's leveled, and you can basically see the oil on the bottom of that thread down there. So the oil will raise over here and you can just see it right on the bottom there. So that's what I'm going to do. The bike is leveled and I'm going to very carefully fill it in with a very heavy, very thick oil. But I guess that's what you want in a gear oil over there, in a shaft drive. It does a lot of work, that oil over there. So right, it's really thick. Can't really see what's happening, but I'm still not quite there. So I'm going to keep going until I can see it clearly in the bottom of that thread over there. How are we doing over there? That is it. Doesn't take much. You can see the oil just there, if the camera focus on that, just there right on the bottom of that thread. It's rather impossible to overfill it. I mean, everything is possible. You can overfill it if you really want to. And if you're wondering how much of oil gets in there, well, I had 1 liter before it was brand new. I put about 250 into a VMAX. VMAX is a slightly bigger bike, maybe a bit more going there. So I had about 750 and I got just over 500. I'm guessing probably 600 ml left, if you can see this. So I'm guessing over here went 200, 180, 175 mil, something like this. I'll double check the manual and see what it says, but yeah, that's what went in there. And last but not least, the easiest part is filling the engine up with oil. Already drained the oil from the engine a long time ago. I replaced the oil filter. As you saw not long ago, I replaced the oil screen. And all I need to do now is fill it up with 2.5 liters of oil. It takes 2.4 liter without the oil filter. With the oil filter, I need to fill it up. It takes 2.5 liters. I've got 4 liters over here, so just over half of that bottle. I'm using 10 WD-40. Can't go wrong with that. Go ahead and fill it all up with that lovely fresh oil for that engine. Give it the best possible lubrication out there. But that's boring. I'm gonna skip forward until it's ready. Catch you up in a bit. 2.4 liter in exactly. Once I turn over the engine a few times, so the oil filter gets filled in completely with the oil. I'll be able to top it up with an extra 100 ml, double check the level, obviously making sure it's all as it should be, and then that's going to be completed. But so far so good. Now where this is out of the way, engine is filled with beautiful fresh new oil. Let's fill my auxiliary petrol tank bottle with some petrol and see if it starts. Mind you, I've not started it up. What's it gonna be? 6 months? 5 months? I don't know. The bike has been apart for a long time, probably more than 6 months. It's been apart, wired and gloom apart, everything. Just put it back together. It kind of works. Let's hope it's gonna fire. Let's see. It's not good, mate. It's not good. Where is this oil coming from? From here. And why? We don't know until we know. Right, so as you saw, the bike started. It was genuinely first time I just pressed the button, put some choke on it, and it started beautifully. The response is nice, and it was steaming, you know, because the exhaust strap is still wet and there's a fresh paint on it and everything was heating up. Very nice responsiveness. But then the disaster, you know, you saw it. Oil started leaking from the front cylinder. I had no idea why. So I did some investigation and I don't have good news, I'm afraid. Well, I guess it's better it happen now than after the bike is finished or I'm in the middle of the road, because disaster was just waiting to happen. The old bikes like this, you know, everything needs to be replaced. Let's have a look. So the oil started to leaking from here. I wasn't sure why that was, and I was trying to take it off just to see whether maybe the seal gave up or something. but this bolt was spinning around like crazy. This bottom one came off nicely, but I just spinning around, and yeah, fair enough, it's fucked. It's fucking fucked. Not good news. The rocker cover over here, it's a very sensitive part. I'll need to really take my time to drill this out, see if I can make it happen. I'm gonna soak it up with some dismantling lubricant, blast gas or duck oil, whatever I have. Give it a good soak overnight, keep lubricating that, drill the middle of it and hope for the best. I just took that remaining of the bolt from a rocker cover over there, and it looks like somebody was basically fucked it up and tried to cover the tracks, you know, by getting rid of the bike, because it's not even metal. It just disintegrates. That's a part, and this, as you can see, I can crush with my fingers. See this? If the camera can focus on that. Fuck knows what that is and why it was there, but that's not metal. Somebody tried to glue it back together or something. Fuck knows. Anyway, there's a long few hours ahead of me. Very precision, like drilling and extracting that broken bolt. Wish me luck, I'm gonna need it. There's always something, isn't it? So close yet so far away. Fucking thing. Well, anyway, guys, I'm not gonna even bother filming that. I need to focus on this shit. Don't want the camera hanging on top of me and you watching what I'm doing. Wish me luck. I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna take a break now because I'm really pissed off. Grab a beer or two and come back to it later on or even tomorrow. Well, until then, guys, thank you very much for watching. Rock hard, have a beer, and we'll see you very soon.